And thanks so much for tuning into the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We are in Proverbs chapter 27 today. I'll be reading two different verses, but I want to encourage you to read the entire chapter as our prayer is that you would continue to gain godly wisdom and you would understand the foolishness of this world. Verse 1 of chapter 27 says this: "Don't brag about tomorrow, since you don't know what the day will bring." That doesn't say we shouldn't have a plan or we shouldn't prepare. We should have a plan and we should prepare, but we shouldn't be bragging about it. Where are we putting our dependency on? The Bible talks about in the book of James that our life is like a vapor, like a mist. It's here one day and gone the next. And so the things that we need to be focusing on, the things that we need to be depending on are God's purposes and not our own. So we shouldn't be bragging about tomorrow. And then in verse 17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." I don't know if you've ever sharpened a knife before, or if you've ever tried to cut something with a dull knife. It is miserable. But then when you actually take the time to sharpen the knife, and then you go and cut that vegetable again, and you go whatever you're doing, or you're sharpening the axe, and then you go and cut the wood, it's significantly easier. Now, when you sharpen something, it's actually hard work. And what you're doing is you're smoothing out the edges. And smoothing out the edges can be hard. It can be difficult, just like hearing some corrective criticism from a friend. But I promise you this, is that actually a friend that loves you, a friend that's going to be there for you, a friend that is going to care is actually the one who's going to give you some corrective criticism. And how do we receive that corrective criticism? Well, that's going to be that sharpening. And that's going to be smoothing out the edges. Sometimes it's difficult to hear things, but do we want to learn? Do we want to grow? See, a friend does that. Just like how iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. So the question that we need to be asking ourselves is, what friends do we have? Do we have friends in our lives that are willing and that are able to give us some corrective criticism, that are able to love us beyond just people pleasing, that are going to be able to speak the truth in love to us? And are we friends that do that? And are we friends also to be able to receive the corrective criticism and be able to allow that corrective criticism to smooth out our edges so that way we can be sharper, where we can be more effective and more efficient into what God has called us to do? So think about that as you go to the Lord. May you gain his wisdom, his provision, his strength as you go after him today. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.